A few Goldilock Bears podcast with Fitz and Cloud.
John Nemitz.
And David Lauer.
And this is the show where we talk about our loves, hates, and indifferences. But before we do any of that, we like to look back at old episodes, old topics, and bring old shit up. Called the Deja Fuse. I'll go first, actually. So, John, you were talking about bad attitude phrase t-shirts,
I was, yeah.
where it just says like "fuck
Like,
you" and you're like, what?
yeah, you're like, what did I do?
Well, I wanted to bring up because I just saw this at work. Bad attitude phrase mugs
All right.
at
Um,
yeah. Let me
do
just
you, do
say
you have an example?
yes, at work it says, I'm paraphrasing, "I'm not responsible for what my face makes when you are talking."
Yeah.
Like if you look at it, you're like, Jesus, like sorry that we have to communicate at the shift change. But yeah,
Do
that was
people
it.
ever talk to you and you start saying something and they just like nod towards the mug? You're like, all right, I get it.
No, thankfully.
There's one mug at my office. I think I actually brought this up before, but um, it says, what do we want? Coffee. When do we want it? I'll fucking cut you.
That's good.
It's just so weird though because it's at work. I don't know. Like that's the one time I feel like we should not
Not
have
insult
like,
each other.
yeah, so odd. Um, yeah, but that's all I got. What do you guys have for a Deja Few?
So in the past I've talked about video game speedrunning. The that Games Done Quick marathon is happening this week, and I actually got my act together this year to attend it for the first time. So I've
Sweet.
been going to that quite a bit. Um, that's been fun. Actually, one of the first games I watched run was Mega Man 9. Mega Man being another Deja Vu. So um, Hollow Knight tomorrow. I think that was maybe a topic from the first ever episode of the show.
Yes.
So a lot of this is very Deja Vu-ish.
Wait a minute. Are you competing?
No, no,
No.
no. You have to like um go through a whole thing where you like record yourself doing it. You have like people commentating it. So not only do they see the game and the run itself if it's entertaining, but like if the people who are going to do the commentary are entertaining and whatnot. And I've just never taken the initiative to do such a thing.
Do
So what you're
most of these
saying?
speed do
Sorry.
most of the speedrunners are they on like Twitch and they stream as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And this is a good like promotion event for them, um, as well, because then if you see a game you didn't know about or a runner you didn't know about, you can follow them in the future.
That's sweet. Yeah, I
And
think I checked it out that one time. It was cool.
like I've always loved Mario Kart. It's like one of my favorite racing games. But once I like discovered and I started watching YouTube videos on like the speed runs of Mario Kart and like how to get the fastest laps, and it kind of like destroyed my love for that game because like it just kind of showed like how many glitches there are in
Oh
that
yeah.
game where you kind of it peels back the curtain on like how the game is set up and how you can just like do like figure eights in some of the levels on some of the courses where you're just you're getting like 7 second laps. You're
Yeah,
like
that
just
game
kind
is
of cheating.
notorious. Like, oh, all you have to do is get this one checkpoint and then this other checkpoint, and then you can just go back to the finish line and you get a lap. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, there was one, I think it was like the Iceland one or something, but like all you have to do is right as it starts, you immediately just like do kind of like a 180 and then just aim right for this direct spot. And if you go at the perfect angle, the Lakitu will pick you up, bring you back, and drop you down, and you completed a lap. And then you just repeat that 3 times. And then that was like the speed run. And like, like some dude discovered that. There was like already a record for the speed run, but once some dude discovered how to do that, then he beat it. And then everybody like, you post a video and everyone's like, what? How did he do that? That's crazy.
Oh, sorry. But Dave, real quick, do you have a game that you could probably do a speed run on?
Like not against like the experts, like the pros that do it, like they know every little intricacy of the map in the game and they know all of the exploits. Like I would there's no way. There's no way I'd ever be able to do it. Like, yeah, I could definitely beat like my 13-year-old cousin and make him cry, but like I'm not gonna beat a professional.
At the SGDQ event, they have like a free play arcade. They have like driving games, they have like Crazy Taxi and all these rhythm games and all your standard like fighting arcade games and that stuff. But one thing they also have is like these challenge setups where they take like a well-known like retro game, but like put some weird twist on it. So for example, they have Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo, but you're controlling two characters with the same controller. So somehow you have to like race around, giving your inputs in such a way that both of them stay like, and it's Rainbow Road, so you have to like stay on the track and somehow get around and like finish within like a minute or something. And I have not been able to do it.
Wait. You have to race with two different characters at the same time? Is that what you
Yeah.
said?
Yep.
Oh
But one
shit.
controller. So like whatever inputs you do happen to both of them. So if like one guy needs to go straight and the other guy needs to turn, you're kind of out of luck.
God. Wow. I feel like
I
that would
feel
kind of ruin my experience of that game. I wouldn't try it.
I feel like as a kid, like I like perfected the art of curse words, like playing Rainbow Road and going off of the level. Because if you get to the third lap and then all of a sudden you get hit with a shell or you screw up a turn and you go off the map and then your shot is just ruined. Like that, doing that would just be impossible trying to control the input of two characters at once. Like, oh, I would break my controller for sure.
Oh my gosh. One more Deja few, or were you being serious about it?
Sure. Yeah, I have a deja vu. I brought
You
up a
called my
topic.
bluff.
Set cut point,
My
edit
topic was
point.
I was indifferent to ceiling fans. Um, upon further review, it's been really fucking hot this week, and I kind of like ceiling fans. Even with I have central air in my house, but if I don't have the ceiling fan on in the living room, like I'm just cooking in there. So yeah, ceiling fans, 2 thumbs up.
Okay.
Heck yeah. Use ours in our bedroom every night.
Oh, yes, ceiling fan, but it's not this particular one that I have is the strongest. So I have my handy dandy little fan that I bought. It's like, I don't know, the size, pretty decent size, has a pretty decent power. So now I have two fans going on me, one more direct and one more just kind of all over the room. So that's how I get down.
Let's hope our show can achieve the same thing someday.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, let's show them what episode 40 of A Few Goldilock Bears is like. Let's start off with someone. I think, John, you got to start.
I'll start. I love the James Webb Space Telescope. Um, like I really enjoyed just watching the process of like when they were designing it and building it and testing it, and then like it was super stressful when they launched it because they spent all this money on this thing, and is it going to deploy correctly? The rocket launch correctly and all that stuff, and it did. And then when we saw like the first pictures coming in, and they had to explain like, oh yeah, like it has these weird little star patterns on it. Don't worry about that. That's normal. And like all this stuff. And um just like all the cool images they're getting out of it are just awesome to look at. And then like all the discoveries that they're making with it. So um, like they saw like a evidence now of a planet orbiting some other star that has methane and carbon dioxide on it because of this thing. So that's an indicator of possible life on that planet. It's finding like smaller asteroids than we've ever been able to see with other technologies. So um, something that might be heading for us someday, we'll maybe get early warning on because of this, or a telescope like it. We're seeing galaxies that are older than we've ever seen before, and we're seeing them better than we've ever seen before because of this, and then just learning a lot about the early days of the universe. Um, Looking at black holes and um, there's all this stuff that we've had theories on for quite a while now, and we're finally able to put them to the test by having advanced technology enough to look at this stuff.
How wait, so what's the Hubble? Is this one's going is this isn't around us. It's not or in our orbit. It's like traveling, right?
No, it's in our orbit.
Oh. Well then
It's
isn't there something traveling? No?
I mean, there's definitely stuff traveling, like the Voyager probes and um
Yeah.
the yeah, so those are specifically meant, well, like the Voyagers, I believe, were just meant to see like what if we shoot something out of the solar system and it just reports back to us along the way. We've had other ones that go out like um was it New Horizons or something that went to like look at Pluto and stuff, and um sent back images. So these are like Hubble and James Webb are there basically just to be in space, um and but by the Earth, because when you look at through a telescope on the planet, you're looking through all our atmosphere and all the air and stuff, and that causes distortion. And then like even just like dealing with like clouds and smog, and but yeah, even on a clear night, you're just gonna have distortion in the image. Whereas if you get it outside of the atmosphere, then you always have like a perfect view of the sky.
Dave has his hand raised. Oh no. Oh, never mind.
No,
Well,
um, so yeah, I was first off, who is James Webb? Is he the guy who designed it, or who's it named after?
um just yeah, like a astronomer who discovered some stuff. I couldn't even tell you. Honestly,
Yeah,
I was not familiar with his name prior to
yeah,
the naming of the telescope.
yeah. When I first saw pictures, like the first picture that was like released a couple years ago in like high definition, like I immediately was just like, bullshit, that's AI. Like I just thought it was like some AI generated image until like I actually like Google searched it and like looked around and I was like, oh shit. I'm like, this is awesome. It's like super cool, man. I saw this one image where they get such high definition image out of it. They had it on a computer screen, and then it's like a video of them looking at the image where they're able to like, this is the image, but we're gonna zoom back out. And they're like, and they zoomed out a bunch, and they're like, this is how tiny of a section of the sky that we're looking at. But then when they zoom back in on it, it's incredible the detail they have on something so tiny and far away. Um, It's really awesome. I thought one thing I Google searched it a little bit and I saw like who helped like design and make it. And the company is Northrop Grumman,
Oh.
which if you don't know the company, I they're like one of the largest weapons manufacturers in the world. They make missiles and like stealth fighters and basically like the military industrial complex. They're like one of the like six or seven biggest weapons manufacturers. And it's just like everything in this world where you're like, man, they did something really awesome, and then you're like, oh, but they did something really horrible too. It's just like the duality of mankind. Like, I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
Holy shit. Uh, maybe it is a weapon, you know, but it's also a telescope. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, guys, we'll build you your telescope, but we're putting a nuke on it.
Oh my gosh.
They're gonna need it for when it's like Armageddon, like Bruce Willis. Well, it won't be Bruce Willis; it'll be recast. But someone will be like, actually, or James Webb will be like, actually, I put a nuke on that thing to, when the asteroid gets close, we'll destroy it.
It was set out in like 2021, right? Like super recent.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, so then I do remember hearing about like these crisper images and stuff. That's pretty cool. And I did look at a lot of the pictures that it sent, and yeah, it's just beautiful shit. Although I don't know what they are. Like they're like, see that? That's a what would it be? A galaxy, right? Like a Milky Way galaxy that you could see.
Could be a galaxy, could be a nebula, could
What's a
be
nebula?
just like a bunch of like cosmic dust that hasn't really coalesced into something more solid yet.
Stardust? Like the wrestler?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh man, yeah, like I like all those images. I just don't know what they are. So if I care to look into that stuff, I'll probably be more impressed. But yeah, I really thought this thing was being sent out like some machine. Like didn't Star Trek in the movie they're like, "Oh my God, it's Voyager" or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only
Uh,
problem is that with that is like when they send them out, like there's no way they can do maintenance on it and like replace a part if they need to or something like that. You're kind of just, and if like you lose signal to it, then you're kind of just SOL.
Yeah.
hey.
Well, didn't I could be wrong, but I felt like I just read something a few weeks ago about how they somehow did some remote maintenance on Voyager, but that I might be
Oh.
hallucinating.
And the Voyager, isn't that super old too? Like from the
Yeah.
somethings? Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's from
70
the
something.
somethings for sure.
The
Something.
70s? Oh man. Oh, you know what I've always wondered though? Do we have a lot of space debris in our orbit? Isn't that a thing? Like just pieces of shuttle and
Oh,
like
for sure. Yeah.
yeah. Doesn't that seem like it's going to be eventually dangerous like that movie Gravity?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
it's dangerous for like the astronauts because if they're like up there in like a space station, just all of a sudden they'll just like their ship could just get like penetrated by something.
Let's hope not, because then if they make that movie like they made Gravity, I'm gonna throw up. I got such bad motion sickness from that movie. Holy fuck.
I got really bad motion sickness just from the acting in that movie. But I don't know.
George, you just
It was my least favorite space movie, and I like love space movies, but I just couldn't stand Gravity, and it was probably because I watched Interstellar first.
have you seen Sunshine?
No,
Check that out, Danny Boyle. It's really awesome if you like
okay.
space. Yeah. All right, segue challenge, if you like.
Let's
Uh,
point our scope in another direction
yeah.
and see what's in the
Let's not get.
distance.
Yeah, we don't want to get sucked into the black hole of space.
All right, go ahead, Dave.
Um, let's see. I I hate. Okay, it's Fourth of July week. I hate fireworks stands. Like I've hated them for years. Um, 4th of July, I love to go watch fireworks. So I don't hate fireworks. Like
Oh my
fireworks,
God.
it's fun. Put up your little plastic chair and bring a couple cold beverages and sit outside and look at fireworks. And I don't know, like that's fun, for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, like that's cool. But like the idea and going to a fireworks stand, like, oh, let's get some fireworks and light some fireworks once we get home, or do it the night before or the night after. The fireworks stands is the worst. They're super expensive. They've always been super expensive. um I remember like after like 2020, they were saying like, oh, supply chain issues, that's why all the fireworks are super expensive this year. Well, that's bullshit. They've always been expensive. For as long as I can remember, I could like barely afford anything there. And because you can spend like $60 or $100, and you're always disappointed with how little you got out of it. Just like the price, it makes no sense. I don't know. Like, I feel like they're all made in China, and everything that China makes is super cheap in price, except for fireworks. Like, I don't know if this is China's fault or what's going on. Maybe they need to make more. They need to consider us patriotic Americans and lower their prices. Oh, I don't know. Like, how do you guys feel about fireworks versus like buying your own fireworks at a fireworks stand?
Oh, see, like that's the thing. I think I texted John. I was just like, he just hates fireworks, right?
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah. So I must have like saw your text, Dave, and I quickly jotted everything down like one word, just to like, oh, this is what he said. And I just said fireworks. So I was prepared for like to defend fireworks to the end. But yeah, they are expensive. You kind of wonder like what kind of life a fire stand owner lives. You know what I mean? Like, are they like
They work
traveling?
1 week a year.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. And then of course it gets me thinking of Joe Dirt, kicking wing. He's got that fireworks store, but it's always snakes and sparklers.
Yeah. That was like my favorite part of that movie.
Yeah, I didn't write down the whole quote where it's like, who's do's, who's don'ts.
With or without the scooter stick.
Yeah. So now that it's just the stands, yeah, expensive. Just like all that stuff that you mentioned for sure. What do you think, John?
Um, yeah, I haven't bought, I don't know if I've ever bought fireworks in my life. Like, um, I remember like growing up, my dad would sometimes just have like, like firecrackers and like the bottle rockets and stuff. Like the ones they used in like Jackass and stuff to shoot out of their rectums and whatnot. Um, like I guess it's annoying when people in the neighborhood use them all week. Just like randomly lighting off firecrackers. Um, it's kind of startling, but in the end, I don't care that much. Um, yeah, I don't know. It just never felt like you were getting the literal bang for your buck. It, um, like I, I knew my old boss, her husband got super into it, and somehow he like had some sort of connection. Like he wasn't going to these stands, he knew a guy, and they'd have some like pretty impressive stuff. Like it wasn't quite like, what they'd let off at like a city celebration or something like that, but it was pretty darn close. Like that if I could reliably get that kind of stuff, I'd be much more inclined to go buy my own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just gonna like, in case it was just hating fireworks, I do feel sorry for the animals. You hear about like dogs freaking out and they're like, what the fuck's going on and stuff like that. That's really too bad.
And
But
people
well,
with PTSD.
yeah, oh my God, that's
And
right.
like and um I always find it ironic that like there's like people who are like ostensibly shooting off fireworks to support our veterans and stuff. And the idea of not doing it because these same veterans like are triggered by them and like, you know, like literally having bad experiences, it's just like unfathomable that they wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like just a weird irony.
Yeah, like that literally happened to me. Vince, you know my buddy Luke, when he first got back from like his tour in Iraq, uh we went to Carson Park in Eau Claire and we were watching the fireworks, and he was in a great mood. Like we're all drinking, having fun. I think we like watched the baseball game there. And then the fireworks started, and I look over, and he just has this look on his face of just like dread, and he just stopped talking, and I'm like, dude, what's going on? He's like, I don't know, and he told me like the next day or something. He's just like, yeah, it was like I got triggered by like all the explosions. It was reminding him of when he got like blown up by something and his buddy next to him died, and like
Jesus.
all this shit that he went through. And I was like, oh fuck, man. I'm like, we didn't have to go to that. I didn't, if I would have known, like we wouldn't have had to go. And he's like, I didn't know that was gonna happen to me. He's like, I was as surprised as anybody.
Oh geez.
But like I guess he's not like that anymore. Like he's recovered, I guess. He's a recovering PTSDer, but like that first one, it threw him off.
Shit. This 4th of July is coming up actually within like a few days. I might go. I haven't gone in a long time though. I haven't bought fireworks in a long time. Oh, real quick question though. At Walmart they sell those, I don't know, it's like I don't know dimensions, guys. 2 feet by a foot. I don't know. Of
I
like
guess fruit by the foot.
fireworks. Yeah. So do they just sell a bunch of that stuff at those stands? I just don't remember now.
They have
Depends
some
on
of
the
those at
stand
the stands.
and the
Yeah, but
state.
like yeah, every state has like different rules on like projectiles, and like some places you need to have like a pyrotechnics license or something like that.
Oh,
Um but yeah, like at the stands they'll have like the big packs like that, but then they have lots of just like projectiles where it's like it shoots off like three fireballs, but it's like $55, and you're like, it's gonna shoot off three things and it's $55? Like, what the hell? Like, this is a terrible investment.
Almost
Um,
$20 a thing.
oh,
like
go ahead.
I was gonna say, Vince, you were saying it before. You're like some those fireworks stores, they have a literal building, and then it's only open for like 2 weeks of the year. Like, how is this? Like, I don't understand. Like, it makes sense when they just put up a tent on the side of the road and they're like, yeah, buy some fireworks here. Because then, you know, you just have a semi truck drop off like a load of fireworks. But like, how are these places have an entire building and like own real estate, and they're only selling stuff for a couple weeks? It just mathematically, I don't fucking know how that works.
Maybe the same person selling fireworks, so many times a year or once a year is the same person who like flips the table and is now selling Halloween stuff. You know what I mean?
Ah,
Like it has to be
yeah.
connected, right?
He turns it into a mattress firm. Like, buy a mattress. Like, there's
Uh, I,
no shady business practices going on here.
I if we're talking fireworks, I really like the one where it doesn't explode. It actually just kind of fizzes, and it's almost like a small little Christmas tree of light or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. I like those. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
all pretty
I like
nice, aren't they?
those. The really loud ones, don't do anything for me.
Oh my God, the really loud ones could be responsible for my goddamn tinnitus.
Oh yeah.
Ah, shit.
But look
Damn
at
it.
the bright side. When somebody's shooting off a bottle rocket down the block, you might not hear it.
That's horrible. Oh my God. I once saw my brother and his friends shoot bottle rockets at each or Roman candles at each other in the driveway. It was like, damn it, you're about to win the Darwin Award, boys. It was cool to look at though, something out of the movie. Segway challenge. I got a short fuse about this topic. So let's go to what am I in here? Let's talk about uh my hate. I hate the wind getting knocked out of me. You guys ever experienced that where like all of a sudden you're hit and all the breath is out and you're just like like you're struggling and stuff? Well, let me just tell you, it's pretty freaky. Like I remember, I think this happened for sure twice, but maybe more than that. I'm not sure. But like, you know, I remember I was on the swing and I jumped off, but I ended up falling harder than I thought and not on my fucking how I wanted to. And all of a sudden, you're just like, what the fuck? Am I dying? Like, because I can't, like I can't breathe, and it's the scariest thing ever. You don't have death on your mind ever until that happens, and you're like, oh, this is it. These are those moments, and you might have it might take like 2 seconds to get your air back or whatever it is, but there's no looking cool. You know what I mean? Like there's no you can't look like a man or a woman or anything with confidence or whatever. It really does feel like you're drowning in whatever. Like it's just horrifying, right? And I feel really bad for that viral video of a newspaper reporter like trying to smash grapes, and they're up high, and then she falls off, lands, and she gets the wind knocked. Yes, right. And it went viral, and it's like,
and that one's like as old as the internet.
well, it's like, yeah, good year for that wine. But it's like, if you haven't got the wind knocked out of you, like you wouldn't well, I laughed, but still, it's like you have to
I laughed,
know.
but I felt bad about it.
Yeah, for sure. It sucks because again, there's no way to look cool. If it looked cool, like Total Recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger's eyes bulging out and he's screaming and shit, then I'd probably get the wind knocked out of me more often. Film it. But you don't look good. It's scary. It sucks. What do you guys say?
I haven't had it happen to me since I was a kid, but I mean, I didn't like it. I haven't thought about it for a long time. I don't think I ever looked cool, so I didn't expect that to be an exception.
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten the wind knocked out of me or thought about it since maybe like fifth grade or something. Like I remember like I was outside on recess and there's a kid in my class who's really like he wasn't like one of the cool kids, but he was a kid that everybody liked. And I liked him. He was a friend of mine, like not close friends, but he was a friend of mine. And he got knocked down. We were playing like flag football or tackle football, and you'd always get in trouble if you played tackle football. You're supposed to do two-hand touch, but we didn't care. We were just smashing into each other. But there was like a collision, and he got like smashed, and he flew over somebody and like landed on his back or on his chest, got the wind knocked out of him. And like, it just like, and I was looking right at him. I was looking right into his eyes, and he's just like trying to inhale, but he couldn't. And his like eyes, just like tears are like starting to roll down his face, and then he's like, and then he just like breathed in, and then he's like, and then he was just, and then he was fine. Like he wiped the tears away. He's like, oh, I'm good. And I was like, oh shit. It was the closest thing to having a graceful wind knocked out of you that you could. But like, yeah, there's 10 seconds there. It was like, oh God, I think he's dead.
Well, you're referencing the recovery after looking not cool. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that should be a TikTok challenge, kids. Try and look cool after getting the wind knocked out of you. It'll make you look it'll get hits. And yeah, I haven't had this happen to me since I was a child, but my writing session, as I like to call it, I was like, how about I just think of a bunch of topics from like way back in the day, things I haven't had to deal with. And thankfully, hopefully I never will. Yeah. So there's more topics from childhood. So yeah.
Next week we'll talk about how I hate getting kicked in the nuts.
Oh my God. It's happened to me too, Dave, but not since childhood.
I like it.
You know what I hate? Wetting the bed.
I hate it when your mom makes you take a bath.
Oh my gosh.
So I was reading about like what actually is getting the wind knocked out of you, and like your diaphragm is like literally paralyzed during that time. Like as a, I don't know. I don't know if it's like a glitch or if it's somehow like actually protecting you in some way at that point, but that's crazy.
Whoa.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't research this at all. Wow.
Is it like a pressure like vacuum or something where like the air gets knocked out, but there isn't enough like pressure to like bring air back in or something?
That
I
could
don't
be.
know. It's
Remember when
something
our
like that.
buddy Brian, his lung collapsed?
Yeah. That's not at all like this, is it?
I
His
mean, it's
diaphragm was great. You should have heard him sing. Oh my God. Yeah, isn't that what it is? Like they say sing from your diaphragm. Like I just thought it was for vocalization or something. I guess not.
You didn't think other people used their diaphragms?
Just women. Oh my
I
God.
thought they were just like commenting on my nasally voice.
It can be two things.
Oh man. Segue challenge.
This
Um,
topic had the wind knocked out of it.
yeah, and it's not
Yeah.
looking cool right now, I'll tell you that. All right, John, I think.
All right. I hate people who text and drive. Um, it's obviously dangerous to be doing it at any sort of speed. Um, but it's also just like super obnoxious, even when it's not necessarily unsafe. Like, you're sitting there, the light um has turned green and they're not moving, and you like you know exactly what's happening, or like you pull, like someone's going way too slow and you like pull around them and they're like staring down at their crotch. Like I'm assuming there's a phone there or something. But like I'm pretty sure like there's laws in place at this point where you shouldn't do that, but it seems very hard to enforce, and I certainly have never heard of anyone actually getting a ticket for it.
I'm wondering how you can try and enforce that law. Like if a cop's like, I saw you look down at your crotch for way too long. You obviously had your phone
I've seen
out.
your crotch. It's not that exciting.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like,
I
is
th
it one of those things where if like an accident happens, and but even then, like, how would you prove they were on their phone at the time? I don't know.
well, you could check their text, right? Like when was this sent and when, yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, but can't you do like hands free, like um tell Siri to send it for you or whatever?
Yeah,
Well,
you could.
they
And
couldn't
th
go ahead.
like half the time, like I don't really text and drive, but sometimes I will be on my phone because I'm either trying to change what I'm listening to, if like I'm listening to a podcast or I'm trying to change a song, or if I'm just like if I'm on a long trip and I have like Waze or like my driving app, if I want to like, oh, I need to get gas, I'm gonna look for the nearest gas station. So I'll pull it up and I'll use it for that. Um, so yeah, there's like lots of ways you can be inattentive driving on your phone. Um, because I don't really text when I drive, but I do lots of other stuff on my phone.
I think I do the text while at a light, but I always felt like I timed things out pretty well, a lot of crotch gazing. Yeah, it's not good. Were you like ever in like a close accident because you're a biker as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I've never been in a situation biking where I could pinpoint it to texting and driving. Actually, someone almost opened their door on me the other day. Like I was cruising down the bike lane and they just opened their door without looking, and um I had to swerve out of the way, and luckily nobody else was around. But can't blame that one on texting.
Just yeah, that's bad. Uh how else could they? Yeah, I would say if you get in a car accident, you have to get your cell phone checked like immediately or something. I don't know if they have the technology, but or could they do this where in cars, as soon as that cell phone is inside and the door is cold like a fucking Faraday cage or whatever the hell, you can't send texts. Yeah, so if you're getting a horrible accident and you're stuck there, you're fucked. You would have to reach your cell phone out and text or something, you know? Yeah,
But
that's the key.
Siri, for the love of God, call an ambulance. Oh shit.
Oh my God, that's great.
hope nobody's listening to this on their Alexa speaker. Um,
Oh my God.
but then the problem is like you can be a passenger in a car
Oh right,
and
yeah. Damn it. Yeah, but I'm sure there's plenty of families. It's like, hey, that's rude when you text and I'm trying to drive or something. You know what I mean? I don't know.
yeah, there was this like game I used to play called Ingress where it was like a location based game. And like if you were going over, I don't know, let's say 20 miles an hour, it would just lock you out and not let you play because it like assumed you were driving.
Oh shit.
But I'm like, I'm not driving. I'm a passenger. Let me play this game.
Hmm.
I remember I had a phone, or I had some game on my phone. I don't remember what it was, like iPhone 5 or something like that era. And it wouldn't let me use the app because it was like, you're driving right now. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
I like that though. That's good because yeah, it is a bad thing, you know. You shouldn't do that.
Oh, I remember it was Pokemon Go.
Oh yeah,
I was
that's
playing
like
Pokemon.
literally the same engine as the game I was talking about. So that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah. I was just like, come on. Like, I'm downtown. I was like, there's so many Pokemon around here. I don't want to get out on foot. Like, I'm driving 25. It's safe, I swear.
Oh my gosh. Geez. So another segue challenge? Unless you
All
got
right,
more, I'm here for it.
let's pull over and deal with this topic.
Yes, but then check behind you before you just open that door. Watch out for John out there. Dave, think you're up.
Uh, I am indifferent to food delivery. Um, like, part of me loves it, but part of me really hates it. Um, because like it's super convenient to have food delivered. Um, especially like if you're intoxicated or something, like if you've been drinking, you don't want to drink and drive, so you can order a pizza, and that's great. Or if you're just, if you're sick or under the weather and you don't feel like leaving, or if you have car trouble and you can't go anywhere, you can get food delivered to your house, and that's all great. Um, but the problem is it's so expensive, and it's like addicting and habit forming, where like when I first got DoorDash, like I would like, oh man, this is like the coolest thing ever. And it was like I think it was the year 2020. And I was like, man, this thing is so awesome. And then I would just, I'm like, you can get not just pizza places or Chinese delivery, because it used to just be pizza and Chinese were like the two delivery things. But now you can get anything. And it was just like, I I can't control myself with all this power that I now have, where I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna get KFC or Taco Bell or Arby's or just all these different options at my disposal, and then I'm spending 25 or 30 bucks a pop, and I'm like, holy shit. Then you get the bill at the end of the month and you're like, oh my God, I just spent like $300 this month on like
On
delivery food.
4 meals.
Yeah. It's it's just so expensive, and it's like in all the food, it's fast food, so it's horrible for you. Like you're not getting any good nutrients really. Like I don't know, at least not me. I'm not gonna DoorDash a salad. Like screw that. I'm getting French fries or nachos. Uh, but like, yeah, like I think like the delivery services are great. I think for jobs, like people who are able to like drive for DoorDash. I think it's a really great way to like earn an income. And I think like more things should kind of be that way where you're like an independent contractor and you're able to just like pick up a job and work when you want. And then when you want to stop, you can. And then it just all works off of like a rating system, you know, where you're like, oh, they're a good delivery driver. They did it quickly. They were friendly. And you just get rated on how you do. I wish like more job fields were like that. Um, but just my own my like sloth and my like inability to like control my urges to just like the convenience of delivery. Like I can't control myself always, so that's why it's like it's kind of a bad thing for me.
Do you have a license to own that sloth, sir? You know what? You mentioned the driving around and stuff for a living, and man, when it was happening, like especially during the COVID stuff, I was thinking about that. I'm like, side hustle doesn't sound that bad. And like you could wear a mask in case you're extremely embarrassed about you being a delivery man in your 30s. So I'm like, hey, this might work. But then they were like, oh, you gotta have car insurance. And I'm like, oh, I don't believe in it. So nothing happened of it, sadly. What do you say, John?
We used it a lot during the first year of COVID, and it was expensive, but it was like um, you know, the safe way to go out and get stuff before we really understood what was going on. Although then I'm like, is it ethical to be making these people go out in these dangerous situations and possibly get sick? But um, like, yeah, I mean, it was just like the cost of it is insane. Like it, depending on what you order, like it can double how much you're paying for like your Taco Bell or whatever. And at some point, like I used to think like, all right, would I pay somebody, like $8 right now to go get this thing for me? And then now I'm almost like, whoa, I can save $8 if I just go get this thing myself. Like somehow it like flipped in my mind. Um, the I so we don't really use it much at home anymore. Like maybe like once a month if we're doing like a bunch of yard work or something, and we're like, oh, it'd be really nice for us to just have our food brought to us when we're done with this and we can eat in the backyard or whatever. Where I do use something similar a lot is my job gives us lunch credits with one of them. So twice a week, just because if you go in the office, you can use that service to order your food. Um, and they pay like $20 for your meal or whatever. So that's like pretty awesome because I just pick out where I want food from and they pay for it. But then it's really like limited my horizons now because I used to like downtown, like there's just a ton of great places to eat, but now I only eat from the same like four or five of them because they happen to be on this service. And then the service itself really annoys me because they have like these expensive fees and stuff. And like there's one restaurant in particular where like on Tuesdays the thing I order is like $4 off, but the service doesn't pass on that $4 off to me. So they've charged full price. They pay $4 less to the restaurant and they just pocket that $4. And I just like because my work is paying for it, I don't care that much, so I don't do anything about it. But like if I was paying for it myself, I'd be pissed.
Oh, I have to admit, and I think we talked about this when it came to tipping, I think. But like my building where I live is located weird. It's kind of behind all the other buildings, and you kind of have to drive past them in a driveway, and it it like kind of swoops down, so we're like lower than all the other buildings. So this has happened a few times where I order something and they don't know how to get to the building. Sometimes they'll drop off my food in a different building. Sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, we don't know where you are," and or like they'll be outside my building and they're like, for some reason we don't have a apartment number." So instead of just like dropping it off in a lobby or something, they just take it with them. It's like I was billed for that food. Like at least drop it off. And then sometimes it can be cold because I don't know, they got other shit to do, I suppose. Um, yeah, but it's man, I got burned so badly. I ordered I was drunk and I was like, the best thing would be wings. And I didn't have a lot of money, but I ordered a bunch from Pizza Hut because they have amazing wings. And they didn't deliver. That's the apartment where they're like, well, we don't know where you are and shit like that. And I wasn't ready to fucking walk and say, hey, I'm right here and look how drunk I am. Fuck you. I'm not gonna do that. So yeah. And I even texted them. I'm like, it's number 6. So I don't know. Sometimes you get really shitty workers, Yeah. Yeah. It's a coin toss. A coin that I could have used for like the laundromat or something. Oh man.
Yeah, I've had that. Like, I know what you're talking about with your building, Vince, because the first time I went there, I was like, I'm looking at these buildings and they all have a number on the side. And I think there's 4 buildings, but yours is like the one in the middle. And I look at the 3 buildings on the outside, and I'm like, none of these numbers match up. I'm like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sucks. Ugh.
I
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, my least favorite thing is like the cold food that you get, where like if you spend that much money on food, you want it to be hot and fresh and you want it to be good. Taco Bell, you never get your hot sauce or your fire sauce. I don't know what it is. Like, I swear the Taco Bell employees just like want to punish you for ordering food, and they're like, don't give me any hot sauce. Screw that guy. And then also like I swear you get old food because they'll do like the delivery driver will pick up 2 orders at the same time, and then they'll take the other order to somebody else's house that's like 2 miles away from where you live, and then you're getting your food last, and it's just like your food is just sitting on the floor of their dirty car getting cold.
That's something that I always hate now with all of these things. Like you used to just like order the thing and you get your thing and it's fine. And now it's always like, oh, do you want to do the premium one where you throw a couple more bucks at us and we'll actually get you your food in a reasonable time? Or
Yeah,
do
it's
you want to
like
be
direct delivery for $4 more.
yeah.
It's fucking nuts. There's a thing. Oh man, it might be DoorDash. It might be the other thing, but they I think this is what they do. They put it in a bag, your food in a bag, and then they staple it shut. And I've always enjoyed that because I'm like, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna fuck with the food, let the people that made it fuck the food, not the people driving it around. I don't know. Yeah, that's a fear. And we're gonna have to eventually cover drive-throughs in this fucking podcast world that we have, this crazy world. Yeah. Segue, challenge.
Serve up another topic.
Yeah, but we get there late, so it's fucking cold and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we already committed on what our tip was going to be. So nothing we can do about it.
I know. I was like, can I take that tip back? Oh my food sucked.
Yeah, yeah, and then like if it shows up badly,
Vince, that
you
was a
try and
segue.
tip more. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just have more to say. All right, all right. What do we got here? Let's talk about properly used or properly said deja vu. All right. So I'm indifferent to them. And it kind of came. So this is such a small topic, I can't really say too much of it. But if you ever experienced it, and I have a couple times, again, this is from childhood. Like I think the last time I experienced it was like right after high school in my first apartment. So I remember being in there and it was like, oh, I've been here before. or I've seen this before or something, right? It's that weird magical I wouldn't say magical moment. I don't know. It's just weird. It's you get caught up in like, wait a minute, what is this? And it felt like the real thing or whatever you want to call what a deja vu is. Because like I said, this is a new spot. I just moved into this new apartment. This is a whole new life. But it appeared like it happened right when I was entering my new bedroom. Um, so I don't know. I looked up into this because I was like, I'm only going off a couple of experiences of my own. And apparently, only two-thirds, or only two-thirds of the population experience deja vu at least once during their lifetime. And I'm like, I've had more than once, but they just eventually stopped. Um, and when I experience them, it's not like, the Matrix movies, like Neo, he sees that cat. I was like, meow, and walks away. And then he's like takes a step, looks back and sees the same cat or whatever, go, meow, and then walks away. Yeah. And he's like, deja vu, his stupid performance that he does. Like, oh,
And then everyone else is like, what the fuck did you just say?
yeah. What the fuck? Yeah, they're freaking out because like it's a glitch in the system or whatever, right? Now, that was just like seeing two things happen like within millisecond or within seconds of each other. I've never experienced that. I've experienced it where how Agent Smith does in Revolutions, where he's about to kill Neo and he's like, "Hold on, I've seen this." And like I'm supposed to do this. So it feels like a prophecy or something. That's how mine feel, and the researchers, they're like, well, it has something to do with memory. Like if you have a good memory, that might happen. I'm like, damn, I do have quite a good memory. And they said something about like maybe you dreamt this and you just, enough details happen to fall into place. So I don't know. It's indifferent because I love the experience, the rush of like, whoa, what is this? When you experience it, but then you dismiss it after a while of just like, no, you probably have just seen this before. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys say about deja vus?
I have never had it that I can remember in real life. I'll occasionally have a dream, and like inside my dream, I'll be like, "Oh, I've been in this place in other dreams before," and it maybe kind of feels a bit like deja vu. But yeah, other than that, no, not really. My wife gets it. Um, I remember one time in particular. Um, we went and saw like a Cirque du Soleil show in Vegas, and when like the character walked out onto the stage in a certain way, she was like, "Oh, I've seen like I feel like I've seen this before," and I think like when she gets it, there's like a certain amount of dread, like something bad is gonna happen, because of like seeing like because of the deja vu experience. Um, but yeah, not exactly sure. I of course just dismissed it. I'm like, you probably saw like a commercial for this thing or something. I don't know.
Oh my God. What about you, Dave?
Uh, I've I haven't had a deja vu in, I don't know. It feels like 5 or 6 years, maybe. I don't know. I used
Hmm.
to like have it a lot in my like 20s, and like I always watched like weird movies and stuff like The Matrix, and then the TV show Lost. And on Lost, they do some stuff with like time travel and like, so anytime, so like that kind of like formed my opinion on like what is a deja vu, like what does this mean, like I'm like, is there like, because in my mind I was like, oh my gosh, like what if I've already lived this life before, but I was sent back to like keep repeating it, and I'm just repeating my life over and over until I figure out what I was supposed to do. And once I have it figured out, and I'm on the right path, then like it stops or something. And that was kind of like from the TV show Lost is where I kind of got like that feeling, and I was like, oh man, that's a really cool idea. But like I swear, like on an unrelated topic, I had a deja vu moment when I was watching Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, and when
I
like
thought this movie ended already, and now it's ending again.
but I felt like I saw part of the ending where it was Gollum and Frodo are fighting over the ring, and they're on the edge of that pillar that's like over like the edge of all like the molten lava. Like when I saw that visual, I was like deja vu. Like I've seen this so many times before. And I don't know why. Like maybe it was in a trailer for the movie and I just, you know, remembered that visual somehow, like in my subconscious, but I don't know. It made that like scene like even more iconic in my head because I'm like it felt like it was breaking my brain somehow and I couldn't figure out why I was feeling this way.
So this was the first time you watched Return of the King, you had one?
Yeah, in the movie
Okay.
theater.
So I kind of brought this up before, but I didn't say deja vu, but it's that sort of feeling. When in the Two Towers, when the flooding of Isengard, I was like, I've seen like it's. I think I mentioned it as like something out of a dream or something, where I've seen this or something, and yeah, it was one of those moments. And I also have to say, I eventually stopped having deja vus. It was mostly when I was younger. And you mentioned, Dave, where it's like, oh, maybe, I have to do it again. I have to make the right choice this time. And I remember deja vu's feeling like, hey, you're on the right path. This is why you're seeing these things because you're doing the right thing. But eventually that all went away the same way that I mentioned, like it seemed like there was karma whenever I was young and I wanted to be a little asshole. Like things would just happen to like, all right, fine, you know? So I think all that just disappeared after graduation. The spirits were like, all right, you're on your own, asshole. Could be. I don't know. An
It
asshole I
definitely,
became.
I definitely makes sense for it to be so closely linked to memory and stuff because as we've discussed, I have such a poor visual memory that I could have experienced the exact same thing multiple times. I'm like, oh, this is new to me.
Yeah, that's actually a term where I don't know what it's called anymore, but there's so many different variations of deja vu, but the people where they tried to connect it to mental illness, they were like, people with Alzheimer's or early whatever will not get deja vus, even though they've seen that particular thing countless times or something. I don't know. It's so bizarre. So when you've heard of deja vus, were you cynical? Where you're like, nah, it's nothing. Like, did you dismiss it immediately?
As far as like that I thought it probably doesn't have any significance or what?
I don't know.
Or
Like,
that I don't even believe people are experiencing or I mean
yeah,
um no, I mean I believe it in the sense that our brains play weird tricks on us all the time. Um but yeah, I don't think there's any cosmic significance to them.
all right, all right, yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that like 100%. Like it's fun to like theorize about like, oh man, this is why it's happening. But that, that's just for fun. It's kind of just like the wiring of our brain, like a little misfire or something of a neuron, probably. That's it.
those damn neurons. Well, you know what? I hope someday, John, you'll experience one just because it's that little, I don't know, that little tingle of like, oh, whoa, what is this? I don't know. It's hard to explain unless you've had one, It's like an orgasm. It's like you'll know when you get it.
Someday I hope to experience that also.
It'd be so funny if your wife was like, "You have had one."
Whoa.
Whoa. Great.
You're gonna have an orgasm and a deja vu all at the same time.
And you're like, I don't know what was better, but smokes all around. All right, segue challenge.
Didn't we already segue this?
I
Oh
think
my
we did.
gosh.
I remember this.
I think it's old D Dog. Oh, D Dog really doesn't work.
No,
Almost with any other letter than D, right? Jeez.
plus it's me, isn't it?
Oh, is
I
it?
agree.
Oh, J Dog.
I am indifferent to the flavor of black licorice. I know it's a usually one of those things that you love or hate, but not me. I'm just like, eh. Um, like I definitely never sought it out, and I still don't. Um, and like these days, I only come across it if someone like there's like liqueurs that have like the flavor of what is it like anise or whatever. Um, that it has that black licorice kind of flavor to it, and some of those are pretty good, and some of them are like pretty chemically tasting and pretty bad, which like so I guess it's just kind of like the execution of it for me. Like if you're using it well, then I like it. If you're not, then it's kind of gross. I know, yeah, like black jelly beans were like the classic thing that a lot of kids don't like, and like yeah, like black licorice and the ones I've hated some of them. They're there's ones they make that are like super salty. So it's like black licorice plus salt, which I thought was gross. And um there someone brought some candies in the office. They're like Finnish or something, like from Finland, and they're like spicy and black licorice, and um not the biggest fan of those either, but yeah. What do you guys think?
I was gonna try and eat some for research because it's been a while, but I was like, I don't want to. I know I don't like it. Like I remember that at least. And then weren't we? Was it Jaeger that we kind of were like, it kind of tastes like that, right? Or
Yeah, Jägermeister is um yeah, famously that kind of flavor.
yeah, and I've tolerated that because at least I get something out of that, not so much the black licorice and stuff like that. But yeah,
Yeah, and
only
that's one I would say like it's like chemical concoction tasting more than like a natural like oh we derived a flavor from this plant. It's like yeah, like a weird unnatural thing.
um so ever since you were a kid, like you saw other kids make a face and like, ew, black licorice, and you're like, I don't know. It's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. What about you, Dave?
Like Jaeger is really gross. I don't like I've drank like in my 20s I drank plenty of like Jaeger bombs and like one time like I didn't have any beer and I just had like Jaeger and I was like I'm just going to drink Jaeger and that was horrible. Like that doesn't work at all. Like you can have that mindset like yeah, I'm going to drink the Jaeger and then 20 minutes later you're like I think I'm going to throw up. Like it's gross. But like I love black licorice. Like it's really good to me. And I
Uh,
don't know why, because like I can't even like defend it. Like, does it taste good? No, it tastes really freaking weird, but I love it. So like it's just like an acquired taste. And I feel like when I was a kid, like you'd have all your jelly beans and you would eat all the good ones. And then at some point you had only the black jelly beans left, and you just had to fucking nut up and just eat them. Like this is all I got. I got black licorice, and like I know my mom, she knew us kids didn't like black licorice at the time, so she would always get Good and Plenty, which was like kind of like a pink or purple and white candy. It's like a candy coating over black licorice, and she would get those because we kids didn't like them, so we weren't going to eat her candy. But you know, when that was the only candy in the house, I would start eating it, and I'm like, I don't care, I'm gonna eat it, and I started to like it. And then as an adult, like, yeah, if you have black licorice, I like it.
wow. Wait, I didn't know that about Good and Plenty.
Hmm.
Really? They're smuggling in, or they're like, we got to get rid of this black licorice.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
why
gotta
did we buy all
repackage
this
it.
in our factory?
Yeah. Make it some pastel purple. And
Isn't black licorice from some kind of plant? Fuck, like like sassafras, or I don't know. Isn't it
Yeah,
from
so like there's like a few plants that have that flavor, but like anise, ANISE,
Yeah.
um,
I ate
and like
some anise the other day.
I think like fennel has like a black licorice kind of flavor. But there's like other like liqueurs. So like ouzo, is that what it's called? Um, let's see here. Pastis. Like there's like milder versions of it that like are actually good. They're not like, they don't all taste like Jaeger.
Hmm. All right. Well, wait, when was the last time you had black licorice? Is it like usually around Halloween or something?
I mean, I had those weird spicy ones like a couple weeks ago,
Oh,
which is
okay.
probably why I was thinking about it.
All
Um,
right.
but yeah, I guess like Easter jelly beans and Halloween candies maybe, or where one might come across it.
Shit. Yeah, because I'm always kind of curious on, what's the inspiration of your topics? Because, like I said, like I'll just make sure. For a while, it was Fridays where I'm like, I'm gonna sit here and think of some new topics. Not necessarily for that week, but just down the line and stuff. Try to think of different ways to get new topics out of myself. Myself.
Yeah, I try to write them down when I think of them and then just have them queued up and get to them eventually.
I found myself like this weekend, I didn't have an indifferent. I have no indifference written down. Everything is love and hate. Like when I think of something during the week, it's always I love this or I hate this. And then I like on like fireworks stands where I'm like I thought about it. I'm like I'm indifferent to it. Like I thought I hated it, but I'm like it's not quite a hate.
Wait a minute, you're indifferent to food delivery. You
Oh
hate
yeah.
fireworks
Oh, that's
stands.
right. Oh, maybe I think it was an indifference, and then I switched it to a hate. Like
Oh, okay.
You don't know what this guy is gonna do.
I don't know. I don't even know my own feelings on it, so don't ask me what I think.
Sometimes he'll be frustrated and throw himself back and look up and see a ceiling fan.
I was like, oh, we're in such trouble if that's what Dave's gonna be doing. That's great. All right, segue challenge.
Yeah, let's watch this taste out of our mouths.
Yeah, for sure. We'll do my love next. It's coming up in a couple weeks. Rockfest. Rockfest is a rock music festival that takes place in Cadott, Wisconsin. It's like the third week of every July. This year is the 30th anniversary of Rockfest. Um, I freaking love it. It's awesome. I've been going since 2018. So this is like my fifth or sixth year because there was in 2020 it didn't happen. But so it's like 5 or 6 years now, and I love it. It's so much fun. It's like my favorite week of the year. Because it's it's just all the things I love. I love music and I love rock music, especially is my favorite. Um, and then there's drinking, lots of drinking, which is fun. And then like you're all camping, like you get a campsite and they have like giant like farm fields and everybody just parks their camper, or you pitch a tent or you sleep in your car and you listen to music and drink all day and eat from food trucks, or like you bring your grill and you can cook out, you can have a campfire at your campsite. You just bring food, snack, play cards during the day. Um, you don't like you're not watching every band. Like that's impossible. There's different bands playing at the same time. But you try and set up your day so it's manageable so like you're not going to be like too drunk too early in the day and fall asleep early. You know, you want to wake up, eat breakfast, have a normal start to your day, and then you start drinking around noon or something like that, and then you really, put your foot on the gas around like 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Then you put it in the, and then so that by the time it's like midnight or 12:30, then you're like, okay, I'm ready to go to bed, and then just try and sleep in an uncomfortable place, but the alcohol will help you sleep a little bit. Not good sleep, but it's tons of fun. Like just like the people that go there, it's really the weirdest people ever. You can people watch. You can discover new bands that like earlier in the day not a lot of people go to those bands, so you can go right up to the like front of the stage a lot of the times, if they're a smaller band. And I've discovered bands that I've never heard of, and I was just like blown away by their stuff, and I was like, they're incredible. And then I listened to like their music online, and I'm like, their studio stuff sucks. Like,
Oh
but
man,
live they're
it's a bummer.
amazing. And it's like, I don't know, like, and then there's some stuff that is great live and it's great like on an album. But you get like some stuff you're like, you listen to it before the Rockfest, you look at their lineup and you be like, oh, this band is playing. I'm like, they don't sound very good. And then you watch them and you're like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. Like Lamb of God. Lamb of God is like this super heavy metal, and I listen to some of their stuff and I'm like, oh man, this stuff is like satanic. Like I hate it. And then I listen to it live and I'm like, they're incredible. Like they're so good. It's like it was awesome. Yeah, it's cool to discover new bands like that and just hang out and drink. And there's definitely downsides to it. Like it's super expensive. Like I was never, this is like a lot of the stuff that I would have loved to done when I was like 19, 20 through like the age of 25. But like I didn't have the money to do it then. But I have the money to do it now, like barely. But so like that's why I do it now. Um and then yeah, you eat from like a food truck a lot of the time, or like if you have VIP tickets like I do and you just renew them, like you get free food from like a catering line. It's not great, but it's food. But like there's porta potties everywhere and it's fucking disgusting. Like porta potties are so gross, and they clean them out like every night, but still like once they're clean for like the first half of the day, but after like 8 p.m. at night, from like 8 p.m. to 1 in the morning, they're terrible and it's horrible. Like you have to prepare yourself. You have to go with a friend and you're like, give them your stuff, like hold on to my beer, like okay, I'm going in there. But have you guys ever been to like a music festival? And I know like other music festivals, there's mixed results, and I feel like Rockfest in Cadott is a really good one, and the management does a really good job putting it together, and it's well run. But I feel like other festivals might not be as well run.
Well, yeah, I was gonna. I've been to some music festivals, not a lot. I went to a Christian rock, fest. That was pretty weird. I was like, what are we? Are we allowed to do rock and roll and drugs and sex? Like, aren't we Christians?
Can do
No,
one
it's
third
all
of those
for
things.
Yeah. I'm like, is that jars of clay? I don't know. But then I was at like Country Fest. That was fun though. I think I like Country Fest a little bit more, even though I don't like the genre. The vibe, man. I like the vibe and the women. I don't know, but I haven't been to Rockfest before. I heard there's way more drugs there. Eh?
Yeah, there's way more drugs at Rockfest. But like I would argue that the vibe is way better at Rockfest than Country Fest, because Country Fest has a lot of people in their younger 20s that get like belligerent drunk, where Rockfest, because it's been around for 30 years, a lot of the people that come are people who have been coming for 30 years. So there's tons of people who are age 50 and 60 years old who are super chill, super mellow. Um so like there's not like a lot of fights really. Like there's always going to be some when you get 10 or 20,000 people in the same area, but like it seems like really mellow. Everyone really likes each other. or is like friendly to each other. If anybody like bumps into you and spills your beer, like they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Let me get you another one." Like it's just like random acts of kindness where you're like, "Oh, okay." But like I feel like I went to like Country Jam. I felt like everybody there was just an asshole. But
Well, okay, so I was gonna say, um, crowd surfing. I did that once. It was cool. You ever do that?
no, it's against the rules at Rockfest.
What? Look,
Yeah.
we were allowed to do that at the fucking Christian fest.
That's all you could do. What if
Well,
someone put their hand somewhere inappropriately on a crowd surfer?
What do you mean, what if? That's like that's all that happens.
I think I was gonna say the reason they probably allow it is because you put yourself in like a cross, and it's like they're like moving Jesus over or something. I don't know.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
I don't know because I always see rock and rollers. They'll go to the edge of the stage and they'll put their arms out and then fall back like a trust
Trust fall.
fall. Yeah, those are huge at Christian camp.
Now, and for the record, I only went there because I thought a girl was going to go there because I basically followed her to Bible school or whatever. We would like, do that
Did
every.
she know you were following her?
She invited me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, like, okay, so her friend was like, "Hey, every once or every Tuesday or whatever after school, we do this Bible class or whatever it was called." And I'm like, "Oh no, no, thank you." And then the girl I actually like, she's like, "Hey, yeah, every Tuesday or whatever we go to Bible school." I'm there, baby. Like I'm fucking there. Uh, but yeah, like I said, that was weird. It had all like the makings of a hardcore fest, but it was all this positivity and stuff. It's so bizarre. Anyways, John, what do you got to say?
I've never been to like a weekend long kind of thing. Like I went to Warped Tour a couple times in the mid aughts, and that was fun, but it was like you went for the day and then like went home and then went back the next day, maybe. So it's a very different vibe than hanging out at a place for the weekend. Um, and also like if you're there for the music, like doesn't everyone only get like a half hour set or something like that? So like you get to see a bunch of different stuff, but if there's a band you're really looking forward to, like they kind of get cut short, it feels like.
That like it depends. Like the earlier sets during the day, like anything from like 11 a.m. to like 5 p.m. They will like if you're on the main stage, you get a longer set. You get like an hour. The side stages get about 45 minutes. But once you get after like 5 p.m., then the main stage, you get like an hour and 20 minutes till you get to the headliner. The headliner has like an hour and 40 minutes.
Okay.
And they kind of have the headliners have free reign to kind of at least play to up to 2 hours, I think would be the limit. But they usually go about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. Because then generally after like 14 or 15 songs or whatever, they don't have much more to play.
Anyone big you're looking forward to this year?
There's a band called Parkway Drive, which I've never heard of this band before, but they're like a co-headliner on like Friday night. But they're like an Australian band that's like super heavy metal. Um, and I generally don't like the super heavy stuff, but I started to listen to it because I've like heard really good things about how they have a really good show. And I started listening to their stuff, and it's one of the first like really heavy metal bands. It's very similar to like Lamb of God, where I was like, I don't like this kind of music, but after listening to it, I really liked it. And I feel like with Parkway Drive, I started listening to their music like the last couple of weeks, and I've really gotten into it. There's a couple songs I don't like, but I would say like 80% of it, I freaking love it. It's like the guitars are awesome, the drums are awesome. Uh he doesn't do as much of the like the scream vocals as he used to. They've kind of evolved into like where you can actually understand what they're saying and singing in the song. So like I don't know, all their like the last 4 or 5 albums have been really good. They've been around for I don't know 15 years or something, but they're a super like famous touring band that they're on a tour of Europe right now. Um, and then they're going to be coming to the States in like a couple weeks, and then they're going to do a couple festivals here. Um, so like Parkway Drive, I'm really looking forward to, and then like Shinedown is going to play. Shinedown is a great band. Um, I saw them there a couple years ago, and they were just phenomenal. Like one of those bands where you're like, you know every song they sing, and you're like, I didn't realize I knew all of these songs, and I didn't realize that they sang all these songs.
Hmm.
Um, I will say one other thing, kind of going back to what you were saying, Vince, um, about like the Christian fest being kind of weird. I've never been to a Christian fest, and I'm a Christian, but I feel like it would be weird. I don't feel like I would be comfortable at a Christian fest. um, like Rockfest, there's every year out on the street, there's always a small protest, and people will have signs and they have Bibles, and they're like, God loves you. This is the devil festival. Like, rock music is for the devil. And like I completely like disagree with that. Like there's heavy metal bands that are satanic. Like it's in their lyrics. Like it's very easy to hear. Um but I will say like as a person who's gone there for like 5 or 6 years, there's tons of bands that are actually have Christian messages, and like they talk about God like in between songs, and like you'll see like people in the crowd, some people are rolling their eyes and some people have no reaction, and but like there's like I would say like to the I always wanted to say to like the protesters outside, I'm like, it's not just like devil worshiping stuff going on in here. I'm like, there's Flyleaf, they're a Christian band. There's Skillet, they're a Christian band. uh there's bands like Godsmack, which you would think that they're not like openly Christian, but they have like super positive messages, and they talk about charities that help the less fortunate, which is, like really nice positive stuff. Like it's not like a weird satanic thing. Like Rockfest it's very neutral, I would say. Like there's stuff on both sides of the aisle for everyone.
uh yeah, above and below. I got to see at the Country Fest or Jam, whatever it was. Is it Big and Rich? Remember those guys?
Yeah, I
Save a
think I
horse,
was
ride a
there.
cowboy.
Right. We were there. Yeah. So that's about the only name I remember seeing. John, is there any punk bands that perhaps I've heard of that you saw live?
Yeah, so like at Warp Tour, like some of the bigger ones are like NoFX, Bad Religion, AFI,
Whoa.
Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. Um,
Isn't Me First in the Gimme Gimmes? No Effects dude is in there, right?
yeah,
Isn't that like a super
it's just a
group
super
almost?
group. Yeah, we should
Oh
have we should have
shit.
mentioned that before. Yeah,
I barely know this, but like, when I was getting into the punk stuff, I would watch a bunch of videos and they would name off punk bands, and No Effects was brought up a lot. I'm like, hey, John used to listen to them and the Gimme Gimmes. So that was a revelation. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, the Vandals, I think.
Oh shit. Yeah, we covered them. That's a Deja few. Yeah, holy
I
shit.
can't remember now.
Yeah. Oh, and I gotta say, for Bad Religion, you should let me know what album to check out, because I like the one song that you played for me, or on the Smut Wolves. It was like uh something 21st Century Digital Boy or
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah, I
song's
remember that.
awesome. Yeah. So I'd probably check those out because I like that guy's voice. I was For some reason I assume punk bands are just like they're just bad. I
Yeah,
don't know, but he was very good. Yeah.
yeah, and they're very melodic. Like they are actually singing tunes, and yeah, that's one thing I always enjoyed about them.
Oh, it's cool. Anything else about music festivals? Oh, I gotta say, this is a Goldie look behind the scenes. Dave wanted me to join him this year. I was considering it, but a few things went into my mind. A, the noise, like my hearing is really, like it's really been on the front burner of my life. So I'm really paying attention to that. And then all the food, like my high blood pressure, I can't eat like I used to, it's everything has to be so. Uh so there was a couple reasons where I'm like, oh God, I don't know. And the heat. I That's a future topic. I hate being hot, bro. Yeah.
And the gosh darn humidity.
The humidity.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
bummed out that you're not gonna go, Vince. Like, but those are all valid things. Like, I bring earplugs because sometimes you need earplugs. Um, but yeah, like the food thing, it's difficult. Like the VIP line, you like they have like they have like salad and like a fruit salad, like fresh fruit, like watermelon and cantaloupe and stuff
Ooh.
like that. So you can get like some kind of food that isn't just like a deep fried piece of meat or a deep fried potato. Because otherwise, yeah, if you're eating from food trucks, it's just like corn dogs and euros and like either like barbecue or Mexican food. And like all of it like tears your guts up. And then you end up spending too much time in the porta potty, and that's a recipe for disaster. But yeah, so I'm bummed you're not gonna go. But I messaged someone, Josh Hathaway, and he said he's gonna be able to go.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was crazy because I messaged him, and then he just replied back like 1 minute later. He's like, "Yeah, okay, I'll go." And I'm like, "What? Oh, okay."
That's
Yeah,
cool.
Finally,
so
someone you can rely on.
That another deja vu, that redhead is gonna burn out there.
oh yeah, we're gonna have to bring him hats and umbrellas and stuff.
All right, segue challenge. I'm tired of this band. Let's go check out this other. Let's go groupie
Yeah,
this other band.
yeah. Let's go to the side stage.
All right, I think it's mine. Let's do the love, man. Let's close on home cooking. I love home cooking. Of course, it starts off with growing up. I, for one, like my mom's cooking. I don't know how you guys think about your own mother's cooking, but
I
I
love
like
your mom's
mine.
cooking.
Hey, so just today, I'm doing this new quasi fad diet. I don't know, but like it's like scrambled eggs, um, and toast. I could always eat scrambled eggs, so that's good. And then oatmeal with peanut butter in it instead of milk, and that kind of provides like the taste for it. And then at first I was like, oh, that sounds gross, but it's pretty good. Um, it's like basically a weight cutting sort of thing, like what the UFC people do and shit. I'm like, oh yeah, let me just try that. So it's like chicken and rice, and then for dinner it's like potatoes and eggs together or something like that. I don't know. It's weird, but I'm willing to try it. But I have to
It's like
say,
breakfast for every meal.
well, except for the chicken and rice, that's for
Yeah, I
lunch.
suppose.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm gonna try it out. So, anyways, some of the best stuff to make for me is goulash. I love making goulash. And then after that, you have like a big pot that you could just eat from for a couple of days. That's awesome. Cornbread. I love making cornbread. It's been a while. I think it was like maybe 2 years ago. I made it for Thanksgiving. Uh, I made biscuits and gravy this year, maybe 2 years ago, something like that, and that turned out really
Made
good.
I made biscuits and gravy not 2 days ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh, it's so freaking good, man. And then one of the things, um an ex of mine, we would make this dish, and I'm not sure what it is anymore. It might be tuna pasta salad, but we would make that, and then we would eat it with Ruffles chips. And I swear to God, it's like one of the greatest meals. And I just not sure. I'd probably have to message like, hey, what was that dish that we ate that unified us both? Uh, yeah, have to look it up somehow. But overall, though, This is why I love it. It's worth the wait. You have a feeling of accomplishment once you make it. Overall, you're making healthy food when you're cooking at home, Uh, you get rid of like, oh, I hope the cook isn't in a shitty mood and is gonna, rub his balls in it or something like that, Like it'll be my balls. I'll know it. And um fucking, you know what? Homemade pizza is the best. Like I've ate plenty of pizza everywhere, but when you make it yourself, for some reason, it's just it works. Um, yeah, what do you guys gotta say about home cooking?
First off, I just gotta say, like, you worry more about people fucking with your food than anybody I've ever known. Like, are you just the biggest asshole to like food servers or
No, I'm
what?
not. I am not. And I hate it. And I hate like I've been to drive-throughs and ate at restaurants where they're just the person I'm with is being obnoxious, or they're like they do a dumb joke. They're like, "So what would you like?" And they're like, "Oh, peace on earth." I'm like, "Don't fucking say that." Now they're gonna fuck with her. I don't know. I assume the worst. I've known people that worked in drive-through and in restaurants, and they're like, "Yeah, man, I totally do that shit." So I don't know. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I mean that was my main point, but yeah, I love cooking at home, and like I used to have like this weird thought like, oh, like could I make stuff like my favorite restaurants make? But then I just think about like how much butter they must put in everything, or you know what I mean? Like they just like cook in a way that like no person would do at home because like, oh, that's insane. Like if I ate like that way at home for every meal, like I would not survive very long. Um, but yeah, I love just one of my favorite things to do for home cooking is like the one pot meals where you're making a stew or a soup or something, and you just like it's all about planning on like when's the right moment to put in each ingredient so that they're all like perfectly cooked at the same time, right where you can where then you can enjoy them. Like I love that kind of challenge. Um, but yeah, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Dave, you're more than toast. I know it.
Yeah, I love like doing that kind of stuff. I love like the stuff I make recently, like in the last week or so. I've been like taking ground beef and then I made like it was like a Korean style beef. So I took ground beef and then I put it was like soy sauce, brown sugar, garlic, some onion powder, um I think that was about it. And then I mixed that with the beef, and it was like a Korean, like Asian inspired thing. And then I had like jasmine rice, and then I had like uh, just peas, split peas, like a frozen bag of peas, like canned peas. I used to like canned peas, but once you have them frozen, for me, frozen is where it's at.
Yep.
So I like frozen peas a lot. And I put that, and I just laid down the rice, put the beef on top, and spread the peas over it. It was delicious, and I loved it. And I had it, for work for like 3 days. And then just yesterday or 2 days ago, I made like ground beef again and I added taco seasoning to it. And then I had a bunch of jasmine rice still because I have like a 5 pound bag. And I was like, I'm gonna try and make Spanish rice. So I added tomato sauce and like a half a can of salsa and what is it, chicken broth, some of the chicken bouillon, like teaspoon of that in there and like cooked the rice that way. I added some water and it like made Spanish rice. And I've always sucked at making rice, but I've just figured it out like over the last like couple months, and it was really good. And then I had like pinto beans with it. Um, put some like hot sauce on it, or what did I have? I had something I got at Walmart, some kind of like Taco Bell Baja sauce or something, which is just like soybean oil and some seasoning. It's probably pretty terrible for you, but it tastes delicious. And you put it on any like kind of tacos or Mexican style dish, and it's awesome.
That's awesome.
Combine two of our topics. One thing I love to do is like get a food like a takeout thing of like an Indian curry or something, and then just like mix it in with food that you make at home. So like I'll make like mashed potatoes and like a vegetable and something, and then like use the curry sauce on the potatoes, and um it's kind of like stretching your dollar for the restaurant food you're getting, but then like up leveling the food you're making at home.
Yeah, I try to do that. Not in that way. That's a really interesting way of doing it. I'll do like if I have like hamburger helper, some kind of pre-boxed meal where it's like I just don't want like the meat and the noodles and the sauce. Like I gotta upsell this a little bit. So then they just add different vegetables to it, cut up a fresh onion, fresh cloves of garlic, green peppers if you have it, or like even like jalapeno peppers if you like it spicy, and just like add a bunch of vegetables to it that like give it like a real authentic flavor.
Now is part for a kind of a reoccurring thing that might be in every episode. Oh, every episode, every time I mention my mom, I'm always like, "Yeah, man, my mom's awesome." So, how did you guys like your mom's cooking growing up? They're not here, so you could be honest.
I did like her cooking, but I think my dad was kind of the bottleneck where there was like only like four things that he liked to eat. So like, and it was always just like boiled potatoes and like some kind of meat and like some kind of like canned vegetable or something. So like at some point, like my mom started like making something that he would like, but then she'd make like tacos for herself and the kids, and um, stuff like that. And so, yeah, like in that sense, I really started enjoying the food a lot more.
Uh, I like my mom's home cooking, but I felt like she didn't cook enough, which I don't like. I don't know. I feel like an asshole when I say that. I'm like, you should have done it more. But like, I don't know. Just because I felt like I ate like frozen pizzas and like fish sticks and easy stuff. But like when my mom would make spaghetti, it was awesome. I loved it. She would make some kind of like ham and potato and like cream of mushroom soup, like kind of concoction with like melted cheese and butter in it. And it was so delicious. It was really good. She would make like a Spanish style rice and chicken with cheese melted over it. That was really good. There's like certain things that she made when I was a kid that like I haven't had them in years, but like I remember them and they were really good.
Okay, now we go a level deeper. How do you guys like your wives cooking?
Oh, if she would do it, I would love it.
Dave, no
Yeah, I
comment
mean,
with your
it's
with her
what
on the other side of the hallway
I
there.
love it. I just wish you'd do it more often. Same thing. Like it's I don't know. Like she's a good cook. Um I really like her baking. Baking, she's awesome at it. Like making cookies or brownies or like some kind of cake or pie, any kind of desserts. Like it's phenomenal. But like it's one of those things where she'll make them for like somebody's birthday party or for the holidays, and she'll make them and give them as a gift. And I'm like, no, 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 don't give those away. Those are mine.
Oh, we mentioned
What
Chopped before, and that's a fun show to watch when you are like thinking of ideas and stuff. You want to get adventurous.
when we first got married, for some reason, she thought I was gonna be like my dad and like only want like meat and potatoes kind of stuff, and um like was cooking that kind of stuff all the time. And like at some point I'm like, well, like why are you why is this all easy? She's like, oh, I thought that's what you wanted. And that's the only time we ever miscommunicated.
Oh
I've had
man.
I've had similar things where like she made something for me like early in the relationship and she's like, how do you like it? I'm like, it's good, it's really good. And she's like, okay. 2 weeks later she makes it again. You're like, how do you like it? I'm like, Yeah, that's good. And then the third time she makes it, you're like, I hate it. And she's like, why don't you just tell me that? And I'm like, I didn't want to hurt your feelings, you know? But yeah, it's like, I guess I should have just been honest the first time and be like, this is terrible. Don't ever make it again.
Oh man. What was the other thing I was gonna say? Oh, I want to learn how to make more Native American dishes, even if it starts off with the fry bread, which is very divisive amongst natives. But I do like fry bread, although it is very unhealthy for me right now. But I do want to make that. And then there's, oh my God, there's this soup that is served at the powwows. It's one of the greatest soups I've ever eaten. And if I could get that ingredients and try and make that, oh my gosh, it'd be so awesome.
What's the gist of it? Like, what's in it?
It's this big corn. I remember the corn being huge. And I don't even know where it's from, but there's venison. Um yeah, I can't describe what's all in it, but it's one of those great tasting things where you feel like you're getting back to your roots as a fucking native, and you're just like, yeah, this is what we ate for centuries and shit like that. So yeah, there's always that sort of thing. Yeah. Well,
Get
That's
the
how I feel when I
sauerkraut.
eat a baked potato.
your Irish roots.
Yeah, some potatoes, but plain, nothing on it.
What about you, John, as a German? What makes you feel like, oh
Yeah,
yes?
actually, I was at the same time as Dave. I said that's how I feel about sauerkraut.
Does it really? I mean, like I'm being truthful when I'm like when I eat this food, I'm like, hey man, this is the stuff. Or do you guys
I
know?
mean, yeah, like from what I've read, like the whole meat and potatoes thing is, um, like what my people were eating, um, which is weird because like potatoes are a new world food that they didn't exist in pre-Columbian Europe. So I always find that
Really? I
interesting.
didn't know
Like,
that.
yeah, like you think of like tomatoes for like Italian food, like pasta sauce and all that. Like tomatoes are a new world food. Like all this stuff, like they didn't even have before the 1400s, and then it became like the staple of their cuisine.
Wow, it's crazy. All right, anything else about home cooking? God damn it. Nothing? All right, well then like, subscribe, comment. This was a few Goldilock Bears. Go to a few goldilockbears.com. And if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, and comment. This was Vincent Cloud.
You're on one of the podcast apps. Leave us a review and a 5-star rating. Why not? This is John Nemitz.
This is David Lauer.
Telling us to do what?
When you sounded like Zoidberg, you're like, you could give us a 5-star. Why not? All right, let's stop.